getting on video, do you?
Not at all. Video away, my friend. That's why I wore the funny hat.
Well, that's why I dressed like old. I mean, well, me and you.
Nice. Yeah, both of us wearing jackets.
And so, by the way, I'm so happy to see you. You look great.
I'm trying to stay alive, man.
And
being in the restaurant business doesn't make it easy, though. Because suddenly you get access to free food where you're like, I'll take 3 orders at 8 times.
I'm the man.
Yeah, like, why not? It's my place. Free food.
Well, you look great, man. And just, how are you feeling? You feeling
feel
good?
Fantastic. It's been, I just passed the 3-year mark since the heart attack. And, so far, so good.
Well, we're happy to have you here, man. And thanks for coming to Boston.
Lovely to be here, man. Boston always been a big part. I was just telling my wife today, I was like, first time I came to the Commonwealth was with Clerks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though I lived in New Jersey, I'd never come up to Massachusetts. There was no call for it and stuff. Yeah, I was to Philly, to New York. They're close. Boston's like a 3-hour drive. So it wasn't until Clerks that I came to the city with the Boston Film Festival, and then I kept coming back, like Chasing Amy and Dogma and stuff like that. So
and your boy's from here, right?
And the boys being from here is such a, me and Scott we're involved with Good Will Hunting as well. So it's like there's always a wonderful tie to the city, to the community. Like, also, this is a big college town, and at one point in my career, like, I was the college guy, so I came
you're
here
my
and
college
spoke
guy.
So thank you. Where? Which one?
Mass Art. It's Mass College of Art. Yeah,
right on.
There. Yeah. So I mean, 90s. That's looking up to you, man. You've been inspiring people forever. One thing. You were so close with Stan Lee. I got to introduce Stan Lee. It was like an honor of my lifetime.
Such an awesome dude.
And and we all miss him and everything. And you've always said good things, and we're taking care of him. And I just want to say I appreciate that you did that. And,
Thank you.
It's such a terrible loss, but
he was.
What a great life.
And also, like, the thing about the loss that breaks the heart is he was a vital 90-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if he didn't have the last 2 years of his life, the way he was kind of tossed around and like literally suffered from elder abuse and taken advantage of.
Yeah, I just read that book.
I mean, that shaved years off his life. He easily could have made 100, man. He was so vital. But, like, there came a certain point where he's, like, not only was he physically beaten down, but just, like, the thought of, like, this is what it's come to, I don't even want to be here anymore.
How can you do that to everyone's grandpa?
You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy who gave so much joy in his lifetime. But at least, he had that entire 10-year period of Marvel cameos where, like, at the end of his life, he got celebrated by the entire world. Everybody knew his name. Even people that never heard of him before knew, like, oh, that's Spider-Man's baby daddy.
Well, maybe it was your idea to put him in the film.
I remember seeing him in a movie once years ago. Yeah, that was, I mean, for us, it was a no-brainer because you got a movie about a guy who loves comic books, and you got Stan, perfect marriage. And when we did it, like, I remember when the movie came out in 95, there was just like, oh, who? Stan Lee? That's quaint. Years later, it became a stamp of quality.
I love seeing him in that movie too because he's younger, obviously, and it's like, oh, I love that guy.
He's still, I remember when he came to work with us, they were telling us, they're like, you got to be careful, man, because this man is like 73 years old. He could go at any minute. And he lasted another like 23 years.
Well, God bless him, man. One thing, you're coming here to Boston, you're coming here to the House of Blues, which is a great venue. Lots of people, we've been out of work, but, there's ways that people can keep it going. Yeah. And appreciate that you came here to help us out. I first heard the movie pop up in the show that you did, Sun in Lockdown.
Yes.
And that was just such a great thing. So, was it fun to just shoot a show in your house? How was that? That's wild, man.
So adorable, especially considering, like, we were in the middle of the quarantine. Nobody was doing anything. So this TBS show, Celebrity Show Off, presented itself as an opportunity. And they were like, you can do anything you want. We're going to give you a camera, shoot whatever you want. And I was like, can I shoot a sitcom? And they were like, absolutely, go ahead. So at one point, the entire town was shut down. And, like, it's dopey to say, but we were literally the only sitcom in town that was shooting. So it was a weird momentary high on us. Fun to do with the family, fun to do at the house, like easiest job in the world because it's like you don't even have to get dressed and drive to the studio. You're like you wake up and you were in the studio. So it was such a good time.
But it was a Kevin Smith joint, man. It's like I could make a great movie like a great sitcom in my house.
Exactly.
But it was great. It was really funny. Austin is such a rock star.
He's great. Man. I put him in Clerks 3. He's so fun.
Oh, it's so good. And do you have any updates that you want to tell anybody about Masters of the Universe? Any good news coming?
I believe, I think the first time folks are going to see any imagery is coming up in May. We're in April right now, so next month.
You like animation?
I love it. It's phenomenal. The boys at Powerhouse Animation did a wonderful job. They do Castlevania on Netflix, Seis Manos, what was the Greek gods one? Blood of the Gods or something, I forget what it's called. But their style is wonderful. So all the characters look exactly like the way they're supposed to.
Right.
They just look like they were drawn now as opposed to in the 80s. And so you want to talk about people like elevating, man. Like I love the scripts that we came up with, but Powerhouse absolutely knocked it out of the park, elevated our scripts, made far better cartoons of our scripts than we provided them with the word power to do so. Watching the whole thing come together, man, because it, like, you know, so many people work on it. From your writing staff to then, you know, your recording just the vocal tracks, then it all gets handed over to the animators and they do.
They're also, I mean, it's in a way, it's like, it's not, but it's like movie making and it's like comic books at the same time.
At the same time,
you know,
but
you've got like what 10,000 people working on it.
And what's really wonderful about it is when you're working on a movie or something or a TV show, you know, you're seeing results on a regular basis because you're doing it. You know, you got this window of time to do it. When you're like just the writer or showrunner on like this animated series, like my job was kind of my main job of like, let me get this thing written, was done early on. It's the first job done. So I go about my life, and then every few days there's a delivery of like, here's an art pack, and you're like, holy shit! Like, look at, they drew all the characters. And then as time goes on, it's like, here's the first animatic, here's the second animatic. This animatic's locked. Here's the animatics episode 2. Episode 3, 4. Oh my God, the finished animation for episode 1 is coming in. So it's this waterfall of productivity that you have nothing to do with other than getting to appreciate it. Like you wrote,
your part is done. I mean, you can't go and make a script change.
Exactly. Well, you can. I mean, that's the thing. Like you get to, as long as like lip flap is off camera, like because my job has continued, and as much as periodically they're like, we need to pick up these lines, we need to add new lines. Netflix thinks this needs clarity. So like then you have to come up with that stuff and make that work and stuff.
So you might need to even make new scenes, etc.
Yeah. Generally it's not like, you know, you're never deep in the process and going like, I'm gonna write a whole new scene here. If you do that, it's a big deal because the process is like 8 to 10 months. And once it starts going, it starts going. But being at the receiving end of all the joy, the like, here's what Battle Cat looks like. You know, oh my God, this is what Evelyn's outfit looks like. This is what Evelyn looks like when she takes the helmet off. Like just every design before actually even getting to see the animatics. And the animatics is the barest form. It's like, you know, a digital storyboard or just kind of moving storyboard. And even those were so pretty. I was like, we could air this. Like, fuck finishing. Let's just air this.
Right.
Thankfully, the boys at Powerhouse pushed to finish because the finished product is
You can't just put out the pencils. You got to ink this thing.
I would, but I come from comics, so like I love when they do Batman black and white and just the pencils version. So I could have dealt with it, but people will be delighted to see how colorful the whole thing is.
Not for nothing. I love your Green Hornet. It was so great. I mean, I love the comics anyway. That one, I didn't expect to like it.
Thank you.
And like the character. I mean, I expected to like what you did, but I was just like, oh, this is a really great thing. And it was drawn really awesome. Because you don't sometimes.
Jonathan Lau, he made that. Him and Phil Hester took my story.
Phil Hester, yeah.
And then he broke it down. But Lau just turned it into a beautiful book that, like, oh, this, like, what was so satisfying about that for me was at the end of when I read all the books together, all the comics together, I was like, it would have worked.
Yeah.
Like, we could have pulled that off as a movie. Somebody could have.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's kind of like coming up in comics and reading Batman and Spider-Man. You know, you don't think of Green Hornet, but then you're like, well, you can do something cool with it.
Right.
You know?
It's true, very true.
So I tried to, you know, we're on limited time here. I can talk to you all day. I tried to come up with the best Cantina question for you.
Okay.
That I wouldn't be embarrassed to if we were on Batman and Beyond for me to submit the question.
Fair enough.
But before I get to that, I watched the scene last night with the ball liquor scene with Mooby Internet. So you know, people will get a chance to come down here and they can just
actually relive it. And scream,
Yeah,
you are the ones who are the ball lickers. That's what we provide.
They'll just have to do it from their phones.
Yes.
You know? But that was just so funny. But my ultimate, I'm calling it the Cantina question.
Okay.
Is you get to Snyder cut a Kevin Smith movie, Warner Brothers, whoever gives you $30 million to maybe just even for CGI. Is it Tusk? Is it how do you make a 4-hour expanded Snyder cut of a Kevin Smith movie?
I would go Red State. I would
that
shoot
movie,
the ending, like where, you know, we cheaped out at the ending because we didn't have any money. So the ending was supposed to be the apocalypse. Angels showing up, slaying people and shit like that, giant angels. So at a certain point it became like, all right, do you want to shoot the ending, that movie and that ending? Do you want to wait to shoot that movie and that ending for however long it takes to find money for it? Or do you want to shoot a version of the movie now where you let go of the supernatural element that was in the last scene? So then I changed it to him being like, oh, it was a loudspeaker, it was a hoax, and blah, blah, blah. So if I had like Snyder Cut money, I'd go back and I would shoot the angel show up ending, man, like the apocalyptic ending. I'd have a lot of money left over. But I think that would be the one that I would love to like take in the direction of the original vision. And I love Red State, what it became and stuff, but like that ending would have been so fucking weird.
Well, you know, when people after they see this interview, they might say, you know, release the Snyder cut, of Red State cut. From
Release the redder cut.
The redder cut. Well, awesome, man. Well, I'm just so happy to talk to you, man. We can wrap it up, and I'm really excited to be here at Mooby. Thanks for helping out Boston.
Oh my God!
Thanks for helping out everybody here at the restaurant, and everybody make a couple bucks, and people can have some fun doing it because you came here at the exact right time. It's just about to open up.
Yeah.
So this is like a preview. This is a preview to the good times and the summer that's going to come.
Nice. They were asking me when I rented the car today when I was leaving Logan, the lady was like, you're in California, how is it out there? I was like, the exact same thing as it is here.
Yeah.
She was like, you guys are about to open? I was like, we're about to open as well. But yeah, that's been the fun part of taking the movies like around the country is that it's always at a restaurant that's been closed for a while.
Yeah.
So it's good for the business. It's also good for the like staff morale because you forget when you're in the restaurant business, like those are your coworkers, you see them every day. A lot of folks haven't seen their friends in like a year and stuff. So
Zoom cocktail hour doesn't cut it.
It really, really doesn't at the end of the day. Like being in a room with people, human activity. I'm not saying you gotta lick each other's faces and shit. But being in a room with people and talking, nothing will replace it.
Well, thanks so much, Kevin. It's been an honor, man.
Damn pleasure. Damn pleasure. Let's go take a
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I love it.